We started out 2021 with lumber prices at $716 per 1,000 linear foot. In May, we saw it skyrocket to over $1,600, and now it has dropped back down to $820, just under half of its peak price. Is this going to be our new normal for lumber prices? Are we ever going to see $200, $300, $400 lumber prices again? And how is this all affecting the supply of new construction homes into the housing market? In this video, I'm breaking it all down. Many of you may have seen my housing market updates on Monday. In those videos, I briefly touch upon the prices of lumber, but I decided that I wanted to make a video dedicated to the prices of lumber just to give you all a better idea about what's going on with these lumber prices. Why are we seeing lumber prices go up and down all over the place for no apparent reason? So that's what I'm talking about in this video, so definitely make sure to watch to the end. As I mentioned, we saw in May lumber prices double from their already high prices starting out 2021 at nearly $700. We saw this more than double to over $1,600 in May. And by the end of June, we saw prices of lumber go down to $737. However, in the first week of July, we've already seen lumber prices increase again. They've now reached $820, almost an $80 increase in 1 week. But does this mean that lumber prices are going back up for the long term? It's important to note that lumber prices have always fluctuated. For example, we saw lumber prices at over $600 back in May of 2018. But why do lumber prices fluctuate so much? That's a great question you ask, so let me answer it. Building materials, especially lumber, can fluctuate more than most other goods do. This is because home builders can decide to increase their capacity of building much faster than lumber yards can keep up with the supply. This means that if there's a sudden building boom, then lumber supply is not going to be able to keep up with it immediately. This will obviously cause lumber prices to increase in the short term. This is just basic supply and demand. But the opposite is also true. If home builders decide to stop building for any reason, such as a pandemic maybe, then lumber prices can also just plummet if they're continuing the supply that they were doing before. But what we saw in 2020 affected every part of the supply chain. Home builders started slowing down on building, and lumber yards had to slow down production because they couldn't keep working under the conditions from the pandemic. Had we seen lumber yards continue producing at their regular pace, then we would have likely seen a lumber price decrease over the 2020 year. And so I'm sure a lot of you are thinking the similar way that I thought. Why don't we just increase production of lumber? It seems pretty simple. Just get more wood to the production and get it out faster. However, it's a lot more complicated than that. See, lumber mills are only designed to have a certain capacity, so you cannot really just increase a lumber yard's production just like that. You need to increase the amount of lumber yards that you have. And this can take years. On average, it takes about 2 years to get a new lumber yard in production. And in fact, in 2018 and 2019, we already started building more lumber yards in Southern America. This is because lumber production was already moving from Canada to Southern America, and that actually has us in a place where we have a shortage of lumber mill equipment. So it'll even take longer than 2 years to build a new lumber mill. So you can see the supply chain doesn't move quickly. And because of this fact, you can see why a lot of experts believe that lumber prices will stay somewhere around $800 for the next year or two. And lumber prices may not reach pre-pandemic levels until 2023 at their very earliest. Some experts even believe it'll be 5 years before they reach that level. So it's not really sure where lumber prices are going to go exactly, but one thing is for sure, we have a major shortage of new construction homes, and this is not helping the housing market at all. While wholesale lumber has dropped significantly, the cost to consumer has not. Many are still paying near all-time highs for lumber. We've also seen that OSB, which is more popular than plywood, has remained high in price. Prior to the pandemic, OSB cost about $9 per sheet, but right now it costs about $63 per sheet. That's insane, and those prices haven't dropped. And so when you add all of this up, the average cost to build a house just in lumber has increased by about $36,000 on average. A normal 2,000 square foot house would on average take about 16,000 feet of lumber. And it would also require about 6,000 feet of OSB or plywood. Prior to the pandemic, this would have cost about $10,000 for lumber to build a house. But when the price of lumber quadruples, so does the cost of lumber to build a house. This means that that same 2,000 square foot house costs over $40,000 just for the lumber. And so of course that cost is only going to get added to the consumer end, resulting in a higher list price for this house. And this is one of the reasons why builders, especially at the peak of lumber prices, had stopped their production of homes. This, added with the lumber prices, have caused new home construction prices to increase significantly. In fact, in May, new home construction prices were up by 18%. And it has also contributed to the housing market shortage, which has been responsible for housing prices increasing so significantly. We saw housing prices increase year over year by 26% last month. And so with lumber prices so high and builders slowing down on building until the price comes back down, added with the fact that lumber prices aren't expected to get much better anytime soon, we're only going to see new construction homes be even more restricted than usual. And we've already been underbuilding in America for about a decade or more. So we're going to see the prices of homes overall continuing to rise at a faster rate than usual. As I've mentioned in many of my housing update videos, we're about 6 million homes below the demand that we need to reach just to equal out. This means 6 million more people are trying to buy a house than there are houses on the market. And this number only increases every single year, and it has been since 2012. So just to get the market to settle down, we need to build 6 million houses in one day. So we just need to hope that lumber prices can stabilize and builders can get back to building. This will help all of us in the long term if you're trying to build a house, renovate a house, or buy a house. So let's see where the market goes. And make sure to check back on Monday for my next housing update video. Subscribe, like, and comment.